What's good? Today I wanted to cover how you should take rejection from a publisher. This is it's a thing for me just because in the beginning stages I didn't really take it well. It kind of felt like my tracks were being chucked out and I was not good enough, obviously, and that obviously hurt my ego and that made me react in a certain way. So let me just set the scene, right? I have a publisher that I work with, or you have a publisher that you work with, and you are sending work through to them to get critiqued and then possibly placed into a library, right? That's what you want ultimately, so they can then start shopping it out to all the different places that might need it. Now, I also just want to say as a side note, be careful when a publisher is just accepting everything from everybody. They're like, yeah, send lots of that stuff, just keep sending, send. And there's never really any feedback from what you're sending, because what they might be doing is they might actually just be trying to get their numbers up, in which case your stuff will be in the library, but it's just going to sit there. Unfortunately, over time, you'll start to see over a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it'll be like, why is my song not done anything, right? So make a lot of music, but try and make the highest quality music, right? Back to what we are focusing on, which is dealing with rejection. If you send through 10 tracks, of those 10, they only want 4, right? Of the 4, they're like, change this, do that, and then this one is okay, right? So you basically have 1 track that they're happy with out of the 10, 3 need to change, and the other 6 need to be reworked. The way I used to deal with it, which was never healthy, was that I would look at the feedback. It would hurt me a little bit. I remember sometimes I'd even get feedback with, it would be the name of the track and then underlined, in red, almost like I was at school and I was being marked. These are the reasons why we don't want to use this track, right? And what I started to realize is I'd look at it at first and I'd be like, yo, they only want 4 out of 10 of my tracks. That's painful. But then when I came back and I had a good look at it, it wasn't like we are rejecting this track completely. Just work on these couple of things. I had a moment to actually come back and take a breather and go, okay, what are they actually saying here? 1 track is perfect, 3 tracks are usable, but they just need to be worked on. There might be another 4 tracks and they need heavy changes. There might be a paragraph to say this area, in this particular place, we didn't like the way that you did that, or change this up, or elongate this part. We really like that part, but this part is not usable, right? What you can then do, what I should have done, is gone straight into the changes and just started tweaking those tracks because they were fresh to me. I just sent them through. What I did is I sat on them. Sometimes it would take a week, 2, 3 weeks before I'd actually open up that email again and start tackling the revisions or the corrections. And when I got into it, I'm like, this is actually fun because now I know, this is interesting. Let me not say fun in the beginning. It's interesting because now it's not that I'm just creating for the sake of creating. I'm creating with the lens now of how to take my creation and make it usable. That's the whole thing in this business of sync licensing and library music. Your music needs to be usable. What makes your music usable? Simple things like, is your intro just too long? I know certain intros for like house tracks, some piano tracks, they're just too long. It's like 2 minutes. What are we listening to? They can loop that out if they need to. Cool. Do you have a sting at the end of your track? Do you have, does your track build effectively, right? Is your track just plain old boring? Is it just there's not enough life in it for it to work for a particular library, because they know that the tracks that place the best are the ones that are a little bit more upbeat, right? And they might not necessarily tell you exactly what to change, but they might then tell you what the feel needs to be like.